The Alrick Show.
Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn is still with us. We pick up on our conversation about her remaining time in office.
Do you really love what you're doing and do you think that you want to stay there until 70?
Not at all, not at all. In fact, I would only stay for another 2 years, which is up to 65.
You can go to 70, you know.
No. That's burnout. That's burnout. The thing is that I'm grateful to God that He has seen fit to grant me the grace and the health, the wisdom, the strength, and the courage over the last 15 years in a position that I never ever thought that I would have got to serve the public at the highest level. As I indicated, the authorities have seen fit to align the law in respect of the Constitution, both with myself and the Auditor General, to what the rest of the service is. However, I indicated why I had sought the original extension. I've accomplished those two goals, and the administrative heavy lifting that needs to be done in terms of unification between my office and the Clerk of Courts would benefit from my expertise and my experience. So the renovations of the office, seeing it comfortably in a very corporate environment now, housing 58 lawyers, I have made...
Great accomplishment.
That is it, that's just one. And we are now revamping our website, which has already been revamped, but it needs to revamp some more. And we are digitizing the office. We have just put in a high-density filing system, which will carry files, although we're digitizing, but we are an office of record, and records we have that go back 30, 40, 50 years. So I had to fight to get that system. It has now been implemented. We have a modern library, reading rooms that can house up to 12 persons. We have 2 state-of-the-art conference rooms. We have 2 state-of-the-art witness rooms where you can have video link with the necessary apparatus going throughout to other courts. So the renovation has now been completed. So that would have needed a lot of heavy lifting, and would have benefited from my still being there. Now the final thing that I have to do, which will take hopefully another 2 years, is a lot of administrative heavy lifting in unification, which is where the office of the DPP will now administratively be unified with the Clerk of Courts who operate in the lower courts. A lot of people don't know that the Clerk of Courts, who number about 40, 50 Clerk of Courts, they are not administratively supervised by the DPP's office, but by the judges, ultimately the Chief Justice. That is an anomaly. Once they are unified with the office of the DPP, they will have my constitutional protection, and they will have what I would say enhanced. They will have enhanced continuing legal education and mentoring. I'm very big on mentoring, and it is quite clear that senior prosecutors who operate in my office at the highest level would be best suited to mentor Clerk of Courts.
Great.
Right? Mentoring is the way to go, especially in this Gen Z generation.
We need a lot of it.
We are in now. The Gen Zers, and although you tell me that you are over 30, you look young, you could pass for a Gen Z.
So I could pass,
You could pass.
All right, so...
But the thing is that one loves the energy and the drive of the Gen Zers, who believe they can do anything and everything. However, they have been ushered into an age of what I call instant gratification. And a sort of me, myself, and I. Experience, what it does, is help people to understand that there is still a great space for having emotional intelligence, where you are able to read a room, where you are able to have empathy, sympathy, and to be able to read up people. I find that Gen Zers are not big on emotional intelligence.
All right.
Yes.
Outside of serving, what are the other things that Paula wants to do? Is there a cruise that Paula wants to go on?
Well, you try to do stuff like that along the way.
Yeah.
I think after I demit office, I would like to work further in the public service in terms of mentoring some of our young people in terms of going on the positive track, in terms of, you know, exploring their full potential, notwithstanding the disadvantaged circumstances that some of them may come from.
Yeah.
I really believe in mentoring, and it has been a large part of my career at every level. The structures I've set up in the office ensures that when a young person comes into my office, or a lawyer or a member of the administrative staff, they are paired with a deputy director and a peer at their particular level, so that at all times they must be able to avail themselves of the mentoring. Because my mentor, not only my mother, who was a nurse, but my other great mentor, Mrs. Martha, Justice Martha McIntosh, former senior puisne judge, retired, but she was an assistant director when I came to the office. And she used to stress that you must do nothing unusual. You must give 100% in terms of your work ethic, even when you are disappointed or people try to take you down. Because it is your work ethic, your performance that speaks for you.
We take a break. When we come back, DPP Llewellyn talks about some of her most high-profile and controversial cases.
The Alrick Show.
The jurors today arrived at a decision. 10-1, Vibes Cartel, Adija Vibes Cartel Palmer, guilty.
You're looking to demit office in 2 years,
Yes.
but you would hear from time to time, as you are around, Free Vibes Cartel.
I'm going to be very, very cautious in what I say, because the matter is still technically sub judice. It's at the Privy Council. But I had an excellent prosecuting team, Mr. Jeremy Taylor, King's Counsel, and he had a very good junior who is now a judge on the parish court bench. We had a lot of technical evidence. We had a very brave witness in that case.
The witness stood up to at least 6 days of grilling from the defense, learned defense counsel, and he was not shaken in any material.
And we had courageous jurors, a very good judge. We had excellent police investigators. And there were a lot of challenges around that case, which I will not go into.
But the flip side is that it shows everybody that notwithstanding the challenges, you have committed professionals in the system. Judges, prosecutors, police officers, defense attorneys, and court staff who are prepared to do their very best.
The jury came to their verdict. It went to the Court of Appeal. It was very hard fought as between the defense and the prosecuting team, and there again, we have the result. It is now at the Privy Council, and we will see what happens there. Remember, I told you that you can have the court of public opinion, but we operate in the court of law, even though we may understand or note some people's concern, but we are guided by the law. And the prosecutor is obliged not only to act with integrity and fairness, but to do all that can be done within the ethical construct of a prosecutor to put forward the best available evidence, which is what we did.
The jurors are the supreme judges of the facts. Irrespective of whether the verdict was guilty or not guilty, certainly on our side, we would have been obligated and mandated to respect that verdict.
That's the point to drive
Yes.
home.
Yes.
You're also You also dealt with the extradition of Christopher Coke.
Christopher Dudus Coke has been captured.
The West Kingston fugitive was picked up late this afternoon at Ferry, St. Catherine, and is now in the custody of the police.
This time, the rumor turned out to be true. Dudus had indeed been captured. The man who held the entire corporate area to ransom for a week and has been on the run for at least another 3 was picked up on the Mandela Highway in St. Catherine this afternoon.
Not only am I charged with responsibility under the Constitution to initiate prosecutions, take over prosecutions, or discontinue prosecutions. But I'm also charged with the responsibility of being the competent authority in extradition. I'm also charged with the responsibility of being the authority when it relates to mutual legal assistance, as in the Trafigura case. So one is surrounded by many burdens of office, but at the heart of it is your obligation to be fair and to act with integrity, and of course, utmost professionalism. When I came to office within, I think, 2 or 3 years, I had to deal with that matter. I have a very competent head of extradition unit, and I have several units. I've set that up, but a very competent head of extradition is Mr. Jeremy Taylor, and he and his team, and he said to me at the time, Mr. Llewellyn, you are the face of the office. I said, well, always. So I went with him to court, and it was a specially gazetted court on the premises of the Jamaica Defense Force. So we didn't even go into a regular court to have the extradition hearing, and he waived his right to, for want of a better word, fight the extradition, and it was by consent. So let me remind you, it was by consent.
By consent.
And the rest is history.
In all your years in office, which case surprised you the most, or what are some things from a case that would have surprised you, and probably when you go home, you're probably in disbelief? I don't know if you've ever reached a point of disbelief, but can you recall any such?
Well, I have prosecuted so many cases, enough cases which remind me of what my 2 mentors have always said: expect the unexpected and try to prepare for the unexpected. When I am commencing the prosecution of a case, I start to think of my address to the jury, or my address. But one case that I do remember, which a lot of people would know, and that was the prosecution of Zeke's. I prosecuted Mr. Donald Zeke's Phipps. It was a very complex prosecution, and I was up against counsels such as Churchill Nita, King's Counsel, Jacqueline Samuels Brown, King's Counsel, and I believe also Valerie Nita Robertson, King's Counsel, all in one case. I had a team of 3, and they had quite a few. And there was an unfortunate situation where the judge collapsed in chambers. And every day I used to see Mr. Phipps in the dock with this big red kerchief and this exercise book with some funny handwriting in it. I'd glimpse it. And at the time, Jamaica is the land of Susu. The police, several people were saying that it was the accused who let Kodopi in the case. And that is what caused the judge to collapse. And Miss Llewellyn, you had better be careful. I said, well, my God is real, and I believe, I'm a great believer. My mother, who was deceased at the time, had gifted me with this beautiful black big Bible. She had left it, and I had it. And I remember, because you remember perception. You have the jurors, you have the police. I came to court because I was due now. The case went back on, and I was due now to do my closing address. I had my mother's lovely black Bible there, turned right in front of me to Psalm 23.
Just in case?
No, I'm a believer. But I am there doing that for the sake of everybody else in the courtroom. But I'm a believer. So
the drama.
The drama. Well, as I said, I'm a frustrated actress. And it's a good thing that although I give so much of myself professionally, I am a workaholic. I work long hours. But you have the other side of life.
And when we return, DPP Llewellyn shares some little known facts about her other side of life outside of office. We take a break.
The Alrick Show.
The other prosecutors who are assigned with other cases.
There is no doubt that DPP Paula Llewellyn has had an illustrious career, bolstered by her dedication to excellence and public service. Yet, I wonder, how does she navigate between her world of cases and court dates and a world of courting and dating?
On the other sides of life, you were never married?
No.
Yeah. You still love to be married?
Well, if I found the right person and it was the appropriate thing to do, I wouldn't say no.
Do you date?
But guess what? You remember I told you I'm a workaholic.
Oh, so you don't have time for dating?
I'm a workaholic. And because of the nature of the work that I do, I'm told that some persons, notwithstanding my smile, may be intimidated. But that again is static. You see, I'm such a positive person. I still enjoy life.
Yes.
I love to dance. I love music.
What kind of dance you do?
All types.
All types?
When I say all types, I mean like calypso. I love soft music. 80s, 70s, 60s, 90s. I love
So you'd be a good person to date then?
You know, I think you're trying to draw my and I'm not going to go there with you. Let the public leave with the impression of my smile. Yes. But I'm going to tell you, I was in the supermarket. I always give this joke. I was in the supermarket once, several years ago, and a gentleman comes up to me and he said, "Boy, Miss Llewellyn, I just love your smile." I said, "Thank you," and I smiled. So I was picking up something from the shelf and I noticed he was still standing up there. I had left my bodyguard in the car. I said, And I looked at him with an inquiring look. He said, "Is everything all right?" He put his arm at his side and he said, "Miss Llewellyn, what a way the stress agree with you." Right? So the thing is, irrespective of the challenges that you face, whether personally or professionally, your positivity, you have to be able to self-actualize.
Right.
You have to keep focused. You maintain a sense of humor so that you go on to meet life. I have been gifted with a beautiful daughter.
Yes.
No, that was very unexpected. But motherhood found me. And she now is the classic Gen Zer at 25. But she still has high emotional intelligence, which I have tried to make sure of. She has levels of critical analysis. She completed 2 degrees at the same time because of her work ethic, while working part-time on the weekend as a surfer. She was abroad at a university, very, very good university.
That's great.
But she says her mother is a public servant, so she has to help the family by working even in the snow on the weekend, serving at a restaurant.
Good.
But notwithstanding that, she completed 2 degrees. Her name is Leah. Bachelor of Science in Cybersecurity and a Bachelor of Arts in Law and Society, English and Spanish. But guess what? She says she still wants to do law.
Wow.
So I said to her, "You're on your own." But she's studying for it.
Do you cook?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'm a good cook.
Yes.
I just don't do it that often. But I find it relaxes me as well. So listening to music, I used to play the piano, so I love classical music too. I love to dance.
Right.
That is the greatest relaxer for me, dancing. And I do cook.
Thank you so much, DPP.
You're so
Paula Llewellyn.
welcome.
It's my honor to have you on the show. I'm glad that you said yes to the show.
And I was happy to be here. I will look on it as a mental health break.
Great to know. And I'm glad to know that you dance and you cook And you like slow music.
And I love cricket.
And
it's
cricket.
just that with what is happening with the West Indies,
Yeah.
it's not loving me back.
Right. I'm glad that you're putting that out there. So just in case after you demit office and you have time for dating and stuff like that, they kind of know. They kind of know from now.
Listen to me, Alrick. You are still trying to draw my tongue. I will not allow it. But I wish you all the very best.
Thank you so much.
And keep looking as young as you do look.
And good looking.
You try to draw, but continue to be positive.
Thank you so much.
And always try to give back. I say to whosoever will be my successor, remember that it is you who serve the people. You serve the law. Remember your integrity. Remember to be strong, courageous, to be wise, and never get caught up with yourself or your ego.
Service above
because
self.
the public deserves to have your undivided attention in giving service above self.
Thank you again for your service to Jamaica.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so there you have it. DPP Paula Llewellyn. She shared her experiences with us, her story with us, her love for Jamaica with us. In 2 years' time, she says she will leave office, but she will be happy because she did a very good job. I'm Alrick Mackenzie. Thank you so much for joining us. And we don't know if she's going to date, but let's be on the lookout. Take good care.